Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? It's Jeff. Well, hope everybody is doing okay for a Wednesday, and lots of things going on in politics as usual. I guess today RFK Jr. was getting his confirmation hearing, and I want to play something here of it for you. Alright.
Do you agree with me that the United States should join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Yes? No?
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Health care a human right? Is health care a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right,
Yeah.
I would say it's different because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool.
Do you agree with me?
Okay, so that's an answer that, frankly, I think a lot of people over the years on the right have used to try to justify the system that we have now, saying that, you know, when people don't take care of themselves, why should anyone cover your health problems? Okay, which is why they're, you know, like they that's what big business does, right? That's what the healthcare industry does, the private industry that basically manages our health. That's what they do. That's why they want to drop you with if you have pre-existing conditions, if they find out you're a smoker, if they find out your health isn't all that great, they don't want to cover you, you know. So he's of the RFK is of the mind that, okay, well, why should people get health care in this country if they're not going to take care of their health? Well, here's the thing. People, even those that are destroying their health, are still paying into the system. Taxes, okay? For every goddamn pack of cigarettes these people are buying, they're paying tax dollars to that, okay? So why would you take their money and then not return it in some fashion when they need it, okay? I mean, if they're paying into a system, that by definition means that they are part of it. They deserve to get the benefits of it, all right? And it's sort of like with Social Security. People pay into it as they work, okay? But what if somebody told you, oh, well, you know, you didn't take care of yourself or something like that, so we don't have to give you your money back, even though you paid into it, you know, your whole life, every paycheck you got? No, we're going to keep that money because you didn't take care of yourself. So why should you get Social Security? Okay, same fucking reasoning. It doesn't make any sense. What he's saying. He's just trying to defend the system that we have, is what he's doing. Saying that, oh, well, they're doing the best job of taking care of the health because they're only going to take care of people who are taking care of themselves, which isn't the truth. People are getting dropped all the time, okay, who are not smoking or doing drugs or whatever the hell else you think you want to come up with for an excuse why companies should drop someone's health care plan. That's not what's going on here. What you got are corporations who are looking for increasing the thickness of their wallet, okay? And they are going to drop people whenever they need money from them to pay for a hospital bill if it's too much and they don't want to pay it, guess what? You're out. They'll find some clause somewhere in your policy where they can dump you. Doesn't matter if you were a smoker or if you were living the most healthy life on earth. If you got all of a sudden you got cancer, which is something nobody can control in this life, okay? If you got cancer and the insurance company looks at the bill and they say, well, we can't cover that, okay, because fill in the blank. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So RFK kind of dodged the answer to Bernie's question, which is, of course, that yes, people do have a right to health care. All right, they have a right to health care. Just, I mean, if we didn't, why do we have doctors? Okay, why are there doctors floating around this country? Okay, if we don't have a right to health care. No, people have a right to fucking health care. And in Canada, people up there, yeah, they pay a lot in taxes, but look what they get in return for the taxes that they pay. Okay, they get a healthcare system that covers everybody. Okay, and these people don't have to worry about going bankrupt. All right, they don't have to worry about that or worry about the fucking bill. All right, I mean, because whenever one of us gets sick, what happens sometimes when people find out they got a serious illness? They might not even bother trying to get help or treatment for it because they can't afford it, right? So the price tag, it's like a paywall. If you want to live, you got to pay. If you want to die, well, don't come here. Who has the right to dictate to us that, well, if you want to live, pay me? You call that an honest healthcare system? No. That is a system ripe with corruption, my friends, okay? And we're already living through it right now. That's why you had that incident in New York there a month back, okay? People are not happy with the system as it is. RFK is arguing for that system. He wants it to stay that way. He wants that system because in his mind, it's the best. It's the best the system is. Well, it is for people that are wealthy. It is for them, but that's only the small portion of this country's population. What about the rest of us? Well, here's a video I have here from iHip News. And they're going to talk to Senator Smith from Minnesota here. So let's go to that video and we'll be back.
Confirmation hearings for RFK Jr. are going to start today. This man is so terrifying, unqualified, an absolute non-expert across the board. His own cousin, the daughter of John F. Kennedy, has spoken out about how dangerous he is. But I think all of us want to hear from Democrats, specifically Democratic senators. So we would like to welcome to iHip News Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota.
Hey, you all. How are you? It's so good to be with you.
It's great to be with you, Senator. Thank you for joining us. So, you know, there's this feeling we live in a flyover state, and millions of Americans do. And there's this feeling that Trump has just taken a grenade and kind of set it in the federal government and then gone down to Mar-a-Lago or one of his golf clubs and golfed and turning everything off. And you can't help but kind of freak out. And so my question for you is, all of the remaining appointees, is it a fair assessment to say they all saw what happened on January 6th? We all did. We know that the president pardoned convicted, seditious conspirators, violent people. And that if you're okay with that, your judgment is not as such that you should be in a cabinet of the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first, I totally get that. I'm from Minnesota, which a lot of people think of as a flyover state too, especially if you're going north. And I think there's just this feeling out there of like, what the hell is going on? I mean, literally, I was texting with my dad, who lives in New Mexico, at like 10:30 last night. He's 95 years old, and he was like rage tweeting, like, what's going on? What are you people doing? And I'm like, oh, Dad, it's terrible. So I know what you mean. And I think it's also, we should be really clear. Like their strategy is to just flood us with, to swamp us with all this crazy stuff. And then like watch us run around chasing around after all their stuff. And it's like up to us to be like disciplined and strategic and to go after the things that are just really screwed up. So, a couple ideas about that today. In about, less than an hour, I'm going to be up asking questions of RFK Jr., who wants to run the Department of Health and Human Services. And he's one of the most prominent anti-vaccine advocates in the world. And so, I mean, we've got to kind of marshal our resources here and hold these folks accountable.
Let me ask you this. Do you think history will judge some of what's going on right now with your colleagues in the House and in the Senate? That even the unanimous vote of Marco Rubio could be considered historically some form of appeasement, considering, I go back to my initial question, Marco Rubio knows better. He knows. He knows. Everybody knows he knows. Everybody knows if he was hooked up to truth serum and a polygraph, he would say Trump's a liar and he's dangerous. But he knows that. And despite knowing that, he's going along with the pardoning and all of the illegal acts in which this president is trying to perpetrate. Do you think the Democrats, you and your colleagues, need to have a very firm line of absolutely zero appeasement? And I want to remind you, his top right-hand guy, Elon Musk, just did 2 back-to-back Hail Hitlers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know it. So, it's such a good question. And it's something that I personally wrestle with all the time, because I look at each one of these votes and I go like, hey, how am I going to explain this to my kids and my grandchildren, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I mean, the epitome of that is the Hegseth vote, this guy who is now going to be the Secretary of Defense. And I really truly believe that he is going to be responsible for the deaths of Americans. Because of his incompetence and because of he has no idea for what we need to do to protect our national security. I felt the same way about Scott Bessent. I think actually Marco Rubio I think he might be the only cabinet secretary that I voted for so far. And then the other thing that you're trying to wrestle with, let's take Rubio. Okay. I disagree with him on a lot of stuff. But I also, you think to yourself when you're making that vote, like he is going to be in the room when Trump is doing all sorts of crazy ass stuff. Yeah. And do I want somebody in the room who I believe has some connection to the rule of law and how it should work? Or am I just going to say, no, he's going to get in there anyway and make it, I came down on that side as saying, yeah, I want somebody in there who I can sort of trust to at least believe in the core values of our democracy. But I want to tell something else that I think is happening right now. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, when Trump did this order basically freezing trillions of dollars of federal funding, obviously illegal, obviously going to have a real hardship on Americans. It's going to hurt Americans in every single state. And I think that sort of flipped something for a lot of us in terms of like, we can't just sort of say, oh, we got to pick our fights here. Like this is something that we have to really battle and really stand up against. And I think you're going to be seeing that. You are seeing that already. And that's just unacceptable. That could be truly the beginning of the unraveling of our democracy if we don't stand up to it and stop it.
Have you found it strange that one of your strange bedfellows in the Hegseth vote is none other than Mitch McConnell?
So I've got very mixed feelings about this, because I was glad, of course, to see Mitch McConnell vote with the Democrats, all of the Democrats opposing Hegseth. But, he did it at the very last minute. He has a lot of influence in the Republican caucus. Did he use that influence to try to get one more person so that we could have stopped this dangerous nominee? No, he did not. And what about what happened during the second impeachment? when Mitch McConnell gave that stirring speech about how awful Donald Trump was. Well, he could have stopped this, and he chose not to. So to me, this is not exactly a profile in courage. I think it is. I mean, of course, I welcome his vote no on Hegseth, but I take it all with a grain of salt. I don't know how you feel about this, but that's how I see it.
I feel exactly like what you said. You're calling it exactly for what it is. It's performative. He's trying to do some sort of history making at the twilight of his career for his own personal record. It was not for the betterment of the country. And I will never, ever, ever forgive him. Ever, as long as I live, for what he did with Obama's Supreme Court pick. I will never forgive him for that, because what the court has done, and I know that you're very active in women's reproductive issues, what the court has done with the overturning of Roe v. Wade has opened up the doors for all of these regressive laws that the Trump regime is pushing down everybody's throats. And I just think it's so important that all of us remember this, Senator. When Kamala Harris came out and she said that she was running, she and the governor of your state, Tim Walz, started calling everybody weird. And all of the Democrats and moderates were so excited. We're like, yes, we can bully conservatives again. Yes, this is awesome. And we've all felt so united. And it was so good. And it was like, we know we're on the right side of history. We know this is the good fight. And so right now, I think we all feel kind of like this heavy gravitational cloud is just pushing down, and we're looking to people like you and Senator Warren and other members of the House and the Senate to come out and grow some fangs, just like you're doing in this interview, and saying, no, Mitch McConnell's still a world-class POS. We all know it. We're craving that. We're dying to hear that. Pumps, what do you think?
Well, I'm so concerned about all that's going on, the consolidation of power by Donald Trump and the illegal activity that he has continued to do while in office. How do you see going forward to stop his illegal activity?
Yeah. Well, Pumps, I just so agree with that. And I will tell you what you just said made me think about being at the inauguration. So, I went, some of my colleagues says, I just can't bear to be there. But I said, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to bear witness to this. And so I walk into the big rotunda of the Capitol, in my mind, this sacred place of our democracy. And there I see lined up on the podium the wealthiest billionaires in the world with prime seating. And I like, this is what you need to know about these folks. You're talking about the concentration of wealth and power, and that's what it means. That's what it looks like when you see Elon Musk in a seat that has more prominence than the incoming cabinet members of this administration. So my view of it is that we need to call it like we see it, and we need to not be shy about speaking out about this. And I honestly think one of the things that happened in this election that we have to be really aware of is that people want to see us fighting. They can see that things aren't working well in this country. They can see that there's this concentration of wealth and power that is helping the billionaires and just holding regular people back. And they want to see Democrats standing up and fighting about that with some strength and confidence and sort of like a little bit of muscle, right? And so that's what we have to be doing and demonstrating. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I did all day yesterday with this illegal action that the Trump administration took to basically say, we don't care what Congress said. We don't care about Congress passing laws. We're not going to follow those laws. We're going to just do what we say what we want to do. And there's just can I just tell you one other thing that really demonstrated this for me? Okay, so last night, the administration sends out this memo, Trump administration, to millions of federal employees saying basically, you should take a buyout. And if you take a buyout by February 6th, we're going to pay you through September. A lot of people are probably wondering whether they're going to be able to keep their job anyway. But do you know that the kind of line in the memo, it was fork in the road. That's the memo that went out to all the federal employees. The exact same language that Elon Musk used when he sent that memo to all those Twitter employees 2 years ago. So who do you think was writing that? It's like a playbook right out of the hedge funds and the private equity folks, except it's our institutions that they're doing this to. And we just got to call it, stand up and, as my mom used to say, call the kettle black.
I agree with that. And I think that you said right now, everybody wants the Democrats to fight for them. And I think it needs to be noted that a lot of Trump's popularity, I believe, because we live in a red state, not one county, Senator, not one county went blue in the state of Oklahoma, but there are really good moderates and progressives in this state and in our city that fight the good fight. And I think part of it is they believe that he's fighting for them. Is he crazy? Does he lie? All of those things. But they see this entity, this human, for lack of a better word, fight for them. And I feel like right now is a time, and I have noticed the other senator that came on here before is your friend, originally Oklahoma City gal, Senator Warren.
Yes.
And then you, Michelle Obama, AOC. The women are standing up now more than ever. I have seen more women like you and Senator Warren and others stand up to this oligarchy because we know all of the marginalized communities. We are there, and then all of it trickles down. All of the marginalization is going to trickle down, starting with the regressive rights of women, and it's going to trickle all the way down. And so I want you and your colleagues to know you're always welcome on our channel. We are not scared. We are going to always tell the truth. We are going to fight like hell for women's rights and for the rights of all people. And I can't believe I have to say this, but for democracy. I mean, that's where we are. And so I cannot thank you enough. You're lovely. And I'm so glad that you're fighting the good fight. And thank you for telling us the truth. Thank you for sharing your difficult decisions in a very honest and candid way. It goes a long way with everybody. You get all those gals in the Senate and y'all go fight like hell, Senator.
We will. I'm going to go off in a few minutes, and you've given me my marching orders, so I'm ready to go.
All right. I like it. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
The nerve of Trump trying to buy out federal workers. You know, he can't make them, he can't get rid of them the way he wants to, because that's breaking the law. Okay, so he's offering them money. You know, take this money. What do you want to quit? Basically, he's buying them off, trying to pay them to quit, so he can get his way. You know, that's the way a businessman deals with things. And it's coming from him. It's a failed enterprise because this guy never succeeded at any fucking business he ever did, as Tim Waltz had pointed out. And I just feel like this guy, impeachment charges should be implemented here. He's certainly laying the groundwork to give Democrats all the ammo they need to charge him, or to impeach him rather. So I think, hey, either they're waiting to see how many more violations he's going to make, or they're just, I'm sure they're making a mental fucking list here of all the things Trump's doing here that ain't right. And, if he hated being hounded when he was just a regular citizen for all the crimes he committed, guess what? He's just going to bring it back on himself to be chased and hounded yet again by the government for him abusing the office of the presidency. It's, this guy can't do anything honest. He can't. He's incapable of being honest, being law-abiding. He can't do it. He just can't do it. This is a guy. I mean, how did he ever get this far, live this long in life? Because from what I understand, the business world is very competitive. And things happen in the business world where, hey, buyouts, corporate malfeasance, all kinds of fucking things happen to destroy your opponents. And since Trump really doesn't have much business savvy, how the fuck did this guy ever make it as far as he did? I mean, he in the world that I think is the business world, he'd be dead already from somebody putting a bullet in his head, because he's that stupid, and he can't do business with anybody without burning them somehow. He's probably got goddamn enemies that would go around the White House 3-4 times over, you know. I don't get this guy. You know, he's like the last person anyone would think would be very successful at business. And who would know better than me than people that's worked around him or worked with him? They would know just how lousy he is at it. And to think that, oh, he deserves to be president of the United States, really? You know, what the hell are you drinking? Christ, the hell are you smoking? You know, whatever the hell it is, you better stop taking it. Christ, it's killing your brain cells. Jesus. You know, I think that it's crazy that these people, you know, MAGA, the cult out there, would even suggest that, oh, he's the guy we need. He's the guy that's going to fix everything. Yeah, he's doing a stellar job at it already, isn't he? The egg prices are at a historic high, okay? And he's rounding up all the labor force in this country and kicking them to the curb, which is going to leave a lot of farmers, you know, sweating bullets because they're likely to lose everything they own now. And you know, I think a lot of the farmers voted for Trump, so they're going to get what they deserve, I think, in the end. But we're also going to, it's a domino effect. You cannot destroy one aspect of our society and expect it not to affect others. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Our system in this country is like a chain. We're all linked to it together. If you snap that fucking chain, one link of it, you're going to collapse the whole damn arm. That's how sensitive the system is. That's why we have to have smart people in positions of power who know how to do governing. And Trump doesn't know. He's the weak link to this whole goddamn system that he's going to go around shattering. Okay? I mean, let's put it in a different way to people, for those that would matter more to is they're wealthy. If you let a guy like this run the country into the ground, how valuable do you think all your money is going to be worth then? It's going to be just like fucking Germany in 1938, and you know, okay, all the money you have would buy you a loaf of bread because the dollar won't be worth shit. Okay, if you let a guy like this plummet our economy into the toilet, all the billionaires in the world, or rather all the billionaires in the United States aren't going to have money enough to buy a fucking 2-bit home somewhere in the fucking woods. Okay? Because, you know, cash would be no more valuable than this fucking sheet of paper here. All right? So why gamble on a crook like that? You know, and why would he care? I mean, you know, Trump is going to want to get assets outside of this country if he's going to tank the dollar with what he's doing. He's going to want to invest in money in other countries. Okay? You know, basically do a transfer of his value, of his wealth, into another country. Because if he keeps it here in the United States, the money he's got here, he could flush it down or use it as toilet paper. Okay, that's about all the good it's going to be. So for a guy like him, he's going to want to transfer the bulk of his wealth to another country and switch it over to their currency or whatever, while the dollar still has some power. But if he doesn't, you know, he's going to hurt himself too. You know, you can't, I mean, look what happened during the Depression. Even the wealthy were suffering. How many people jumped out of fucking office buildings when they lost everything during that time? Quite a few. Quite a few people shot themselves, killed themselves, and they lost everything. The Depression, the value of the dollar went down the fucking toilet during the Depression. The wealthy people, I mean, even them, they had a hard time. It got to the point where they were selling off assets in order to survive. Well, when you do this shit again, how is the rich supposed to survive that even? Okay, that might get them by longer than most, but eventually it's going to run out quicker because the dollar, it's going to take more of your dollars to buy the simplest things. So even the wealthy aren't going to be that lucky. So that's what I'm saying. Why is it so important for these fucking people to see Trump tear the government apart and tank the economy? Why? It's suicide. If their bottom line means anything, And if the stockholders mean anything, they're not going to want anybody fucking with the way things are. Okay? Because when your stockholders can't buy any more stock and they end up having to sell in order to gain back what they lost in some way, guess what? Your company starts to shrink. And that's what they'll be looking at. Okay? You're hurting the people who are making you rich when you go after and start shooting down the economy, or like what Trump's doing, withholding federal dollars to help people, to keep these people afloat so they'll still be buying your shit. I don't know. You know, it seems like greed can make people so ridiculously blind to the world around them that I think they lose sight of the fact that they're not the only ones living in the world, and that their wealth, however they got it, depends greatly on everybody that they ignore. All right, and until they play around like they're doing with the system, and they start tampering with things that, you know, keep everything standing upright, when you let them do that, it's only then that they realize, oh shit, you know, we shouldn't have done that. And that's usually how people learn things the hard way. But Christ, we can't keep doing that every generation or every 100 years, having these great big market crashes and shit like that because somebody thought, oh, it's the best idea, we want the oligarchs in charge. Well, you put the oligarchs in charge and even their money ain't going to be worth shit. Okay? Because, you know, who's going to want the dollar after that? I mean, you want to buy something from another country and you're an American with American money? You know, what else you got? Okay? Other countries aren't going to want the dollar if they tank it here. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it is with that. Let's go to a commercial break and we'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Trump's nominees, even worse than we thought. Pete Hegseth, unqualified, unethical, unready. He refused to answer questions about his drinking problem, his financial mismanagement of 2 organizations he ran, and his multiple affairs. Pam Bondi, Trump's pick for Attorney General. She stood by Kash Patel and his enemies list of Trump's political opponents, wouldn't admit Trump lost the 2020 election, and we're just getting started. Trump's cabinet picks are dangerous, incompetent, reckless. They'll put his agenda over America every time. Call your senator today and tell them no on Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi. They're not there to serve America. They're there to protect Trump, even if it puts America in danger.
Hello, I'm Gary Craig. I'm a 53-year-old architect from Whitburn. I'm here at the Great North Run today to try and smash the world record for wearing the most pairs of underpants at one time. The current record is 249 pairs, and I want to smash the 300 mark today.
small organizations, dismissed from both. A buffoon, a joke. Kash Patel for FBI, a QAnon conspiracy nut.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening it the next day as a museum of the deep state.
Election denier, unqualified, dangerous. RFK Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services. Health, a longtime heroin addict. He's against all mandatory vaccines, including polio and measles. He picked up a dead bear cub off the road, drove around with it all day, and then dumped it in Central Park.
I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike.
Who does that? Health Secretary? Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, a long history of supporting what's best for Russia, not America. She acts like a Russian agent. Moscow celebrated when she was picked. When Russia lied about America's biolabs in Ukraine, she stood with Russia.
There are 25 to 30 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine.
Why is she compromised? It's not about politics or policy. It's about our national security and safety. Donald Trump appointed these dangerous kooks to prove Republican senators would do anything he asked, even putting our own country at risk. It's how dictators operate. It doesn't have to be this way. Stand up. Call your senator. Tell them America deserves better.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back. You know, I just read an article that was written here on Occupy Democrats. It was about Australia. They just introduced a new bill that will limit the total spending on a party by billionaires, like Elon Musk, for instance, to just $20,000. This will ban billionaires from single-handedly buying elections in Australia. Hello. Geez, you know, it's nice to see that other countries are learning from our mistakes, okay? At least they're able to make the changes that we can't, or won't, whichever the case may be, okay? But it's good to see that, you know, the United States is not the pinnacle here of what everybody should be doing. They're seeing what many in America won't see or refuse to acknowledge, is that, you know, we make mistakes with our election system. We got too many people with deep pockets, you know, getting involved in things and buying off all our politicians. That's wrong. You know, that's fucking wrong. And so we can't seem to stop that here. Instead, you know, we got bunch of people who are hell-bent on doing everything they can to make life miserable here for everybody, and at the same time, they're, you know, the other side doesn't seem to want to put their foot down on the necks of these motherfuckers and stop them from, you know, upending everything that we've accomplished in this country over the last 250 fucking years, okay? You know, it's just ridiculous. But, like I said, other countries are seeing what we're doing here, and they're saying, oh, we ain't going to do that. We're not going to do this. Private healthcare system? No, no, no. It doesn't work. Take a look at the United States. Allowing all kinds of money into your political system? Nope, nope, nope. Take a look at the United States. We have become the example of what not to do. Okay, so we've actually destroyed our image around the world considerably, because everybody said, oh, we want to be an American, you know, America's got everything, you know, they're the best. Now we're the country that people should avoid trying to emulate. We don't want our country to end up like them. You know, that's what happens when you keep voting Republican in this country, and you keep putting in knuckleheads like Donald Trump in as president, okay? You guys, the MAGA people out there that thought, Biden this, Biden that, okay, you know what? Biden at least kept us respectable, okay? He wasn't trying to stick it to everybody in this country because, oh, the wealthy need help. No, he knew the wealthy were better off than most Americans, and they didn't need help. In fact, they needed to get more involved with the act of keeping our country alive, which, you know, how do you do that? Through money, okay? That's why everybody pays taxes. Everybody that's an American in this country pays taxes. Even the illegal immigrants in this country, when they came here and bought things at our stores, were paying taxes. This country can't run without money. And when you got a whole bunch of people who have all the money in the fucking world, and they don't want to pay a dime in taxes, okay, hey, give or get. You know what I'm saying? Either give or get the fuck out of America. If you don't want to stay here, I don't care if you're a citizen already, if you don't want to pay your share in taxes here as a part of the community of Americans, we don't want you. Get out. Why should you feed off our system if you're not going to contribute to it? Why should our police bother to take care of your problems if you don't want to pay your money into it? Okay? If private this and private that is all you care about, then why don't you just let the rich have their own little system, okay, in their communities and stuff, where they have their own little police force and their own little ambulance and their own little fucking hospitals that only take care of the rich, while the rest of us can enjoy the benefits of having a government system that takes care of all our needs. Okay? Let the wealthy spend their fucking money. They got more of it than they'll ever spend in 10 lifetimes. Let them have their fucking fun with their money and spend all the fucking time. Okay? That way they can't go bitching to the government, oh, I'm gonna pay for this. No. If you don't want to be part of the system, then we can cut you off of that system. All right? So you can build your own little stores, so you can buy your own groceries, you can, you know, at your own places. That way you don't have to contribute to the United States tax system. Okay? That's what I would say to these people. You know, we'll put the wealthy people in a community of their own, you know, and they just have to live there. Like, we'll just give you a state. Okay? You guys can live in that fucking state and do things your way. All right? Make it your own country, since you don't want to be an American. You don't want to contribute. So you can take your fucking wealth and blow it there. Meanwhile, the rest of us don't have to worry, you know, about feeding your ass on our money, on our dime. So, you know, like I said, it's silly that we even have to discuss this, because common sense, for Christ's sake, common sense and moral and ethical, you know, if you have a moral compass, it should be plain. You know, it should be plain. You know, even a child could understand it. You can't have a country and have half the country not want to pay their fair share of being in this country. I mean, come on. You know, the day you were born, okay, you were contributing into this fucking nation's system. And buy diapers and baby formula and all that shit, okay? From day one. You can't avoid it. And when you die, you still got to pay. Christ. It's my family always told me. You're born, you pay your taxes, and you die. Guys, you know, that's what it is. But there's a reason for that, and it's because we have a government that's got systems in place to protect us, to protect the country, to protect, you know, individuals for that matter, okay? These things didn't just happen overnight. It took time for these things to be, when people needed them, to come up with the idea to create a system, okay, that's funded off the government money. I mean, because people aren't going to do things for dirt. I mean, they're not going to do nothing for free, right? None of you out there would do any damn thing for free. I've had a big, long discussion with some folks out there about artists and stuff like that. And I find that most people today, if they are talented in something, will place a dollar value to it. Like, you know, if you want me to paint a picture, it's going to cost you. Okay? Whatever happened to having a talent and just enjoying it? Okay? I mean, yeah, if you want to make it a living, I guess that's your prerogative, but when you do that, don't you take away the glamour of having a talent when it becomes your bread and butter? After a while, you get sick of it. You know? Well, my point, you know, in that discussion was that, you know, people shouldn't abuse their talent as a means to make money. First of all, talents should be used to help people relax, okay? That you can do something. But the minute somebody has discovered, oh, I got a gift for writing, I have a gift for making music, I have a gift for sculpting, painting, whatever the hell the gift is, okay? I have a gift for this stuff. They develop that in schools and stuff like that, and when they get out, they try to make a career around it, okay? And what happens after that career, it starts to get on their nerves, and it gets overwhelming, and before you know it, they no longer do these things for the enjoyment. They're doing it because they have no choice, okay? They got to live. They got bills to pay. Now that talent that they have has now become an occupation, like shoveling snow or picking up garbage, or, you know, you know, now it's something you don't want to look forward to. That's why you got people out there who have these fits, basically, where they go into alcoholism and stuff like that because they don't know what to do with themselves because they're not using their talent in the way that they were meant to use it, which is, you know, when you have a job, okay, your talent is there to escape from that job. You can do this, you know, as a hobby or something like that. That's what it's for, to get your mind off the troubles of your day. But if you use that thing that you're supposed to be using for relaxing as the means to make money, and then that becomes the problem and the stress of your life, then what else have you got to turn to except drugs and alcohol and womanizing and getting yourself into deep trouble? You see, that was the point I was trying to make in a blog here. But people, you know, they ain't seeing it, because hey, we've all been programmed since birth that if you got a talent in something, you know, make money off of it, okay? Why? There's no rule that says you have to, you know. There's no reason why people should use their talent, you know, in order to try to live off of it. I mean, come on. So I don't know. I just, like I said, that's the way I've always thought about stuff like that. You know, and about immigrants, you know, according to Donald Trump, you know, undocumented immigrants, he calls them freeloaders, mooching off the system. But here's the thing. While they're living in this country, they pay more in taxes than they get in government benefits. I don't know how many people realize that, okay? They really do, because if you think about, you know, what they do while they're here, I mean, what do they don't go grocery shopping back in Mexico and then bring the food here. No, they're shopping for clothes and food and whatever else right in our stores, paying our state taxes or local taxes and federal taxes, okay, whatever the hell taxes there are. okay, that the rest of us pay. They're paying it too. Now, they don't, they don't pay any, income taxes. They don't get Social Security because they're not paying into it, okay? And they don't have, a Social Security number and all that shit, okay? Because if they're citizens, they would, but they don't. But still, their money, our government is taking, and they're not getting any benefit from that money that they're spending it on. So imagine getting rid of, how many immigrants is Trump trying to get rid of? 20 million? I think that was the figure. He's figuring that there's 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. So whether or not there are, that's the number he's shooting for. So that means, some people are going to get kicked out of this country who are citizens, but because they look brown and they speak with an accent, they're going to get thrown out of here, okay? Because he's trying to meet that 20 million number, okay? So that's going to be 20 million people not paying any taxes in this country. What do you think that's going to do to the national, the budget and all that stuff? Or to programs that people need that Trump is trying to stop? Okay? I mean, he's trying to gut it out altogether. But just imagine if he's not going to try to do that, if it's just the loss of 20 million people and their tax dollars not coming in. Okay? We've been accounting for that money coming into the government all along here for decades now. That money's been coming in, and we've been depending on that money to continue to come in. But now Trump's putting a stop to it. So now it's shattering everybody's, how do I say it? Their predictions for their budget for the states and all that stuff. Like what Tim Walz was saying, there's going to be shortfalls here. A lot of places are going to run out of money, okay, because they didn't get the same amount that they got before. And now, with Trump trying to stop it, trying to block it in some way, okay, they're not going to get a lot of that money. So there's going to be a lot of question, how are they going to be able to do this? Of course, they stopped the complete halt on the federal funding because it's unconstitutional. You can't mess around with government funds without consulting Congress. I don't give a shit if you're the emperor of the universe. The Congress is the one that controls the purse strings in this country. President can't do it by himself, okay? We have a separation of powers here. The president doesn't have all the power. The Senate doesn't have all the power. The Congress doesn't have all the power, and neither does the Supreme Court. But, we do that to maintain checks and balances in this country, so that way everything is divided out. So the president can't just do that. And here's the thing, with all these executive orders that he's signing out, and a lot of them are running contrary to the Constitution, at some point he's going to cut his own throat here with this, and even the Republicans are going to get pissed. Think about that. Because remember what I said here before about the red states are going to be hit first and hit hardest? Well, that's already happening. Okay? A lot of these people that voted for Trump, they're looking at losses, financial losses here. And if there's any way to hurt somebody's feelings in this country, it's money or the lack of it. And when these people are no longer getting, money anymore, or they're losing money, hey, that's the quick way of losing somebody's vote right off the bat, okay? And that's what's going to happen. You know what else Trump did here? He disbanded school safety boards that work to prevent school shootings. Think about that. And the school boards were composed of survivors, educators, and gun violence prevention advocates after the school shooting in Parkland, which was, where it started. But yeah, he's disbanding that because apparently it don't matter. I suppose you would think that living in this country, because every time we've had a school shooting, it was a moment where we could have change, and we never really saw it through. Okay, we let the NRA or the gun lobby, you know, route us from getting our goal here, which is to put controls on the people's use of guns in this country, or the, you know, controlling how people buy them. Okay, we've really fucked that all up to the point where it's out of control. So instead of trying to help, you know, this problem by fixing it, he just, let's get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. Well, that's always the easy way to fix something, by getting rid of something if it's broken. No, you want to make something good. When you start it, okay, you'll work on it so it works better and better and better until you get a good damn system in place. Okay, nothing ever works right on day one. Okay. The ACA was that way on day one. It had problems right from the get-go, but it took time for them to iron the shit out so it would work better. But no, you see, the Republicans didn't want anyone to think that that was ever going to get better. They wanted it to illustrate how wrong the system was in the first place. And they said, let's get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. No, let's not try and fix it. Okay? Let's not try and fix it. I mean, Christ, if you went and had a baby and the baby was missing a finger, would you go and have it killed because the damn baby has a missing finger? Or would you deal with it as it is and try to, you know, make something out of it, you know, raise the kid? Maybe the kid can get a new finger, you know? Jesus. I mean, that's the mentality. Christ. I mean, if everybody thought that way, nobody would ever have anything, because nothing would ever be perfect when they got it. Okay? But what do people do when they get something? When even they buy a house, and the house still needs work even after you buy it. I don't care how new it is. Okay? When it has a problem, do you just get rid of the house and go buy another one, or do you try to fix it? Jesus. Where do we get this idea of just flushing everything down the toilet the minute it breaks or something, or you don't want to fix it? You know, I got things that I've had since the 90s that they're not broken, but they're out of date or whatever, but they still work. You know, I don't feel comfortable getting rid of things that still work. But people today, Christ, you know, it's not a wonder we got a pollution problem in this world. You know, people are just it's so easy to just throw things out instead of just fixing it or trying to modify or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Be creative. No, let's just get rid of it. Let's get rid of the fucking school safety board and let more gun crimes happen, because we can't stop it. So why try, right? We can't stop it. Why try? Why even try? If your kids are going to die, well, that's just how it is. That's life in America. The rest of the world, thankfully, like I said, is learning from our mistakes. Okay? And as they watch the United States go down in flames, they can be safe in knowing that, at least in their worlds, they've learned our lessons and they know how not to do the same. Okay? But that's just how it is. You know, when you let a country get as corrupted as ours has gotten over the decades, and you don't really enforce the rules or let the justice system do what it has to do, and if you keep avoiding it, are you letting people corrupt the system even more so they can avoid answering for their crimes? When you keep doing that, that's when things fall apart. And it happened quick. Happened quick, I'll tell you right now. Just in my lifetime, you know, you saw this country here that, you know, could have saved itself way, way back. Could have saved itself from where it is today, if they'd have just paid attention to the signs. Everybody was pointing out the signs of what was to come. And instead of trying to avoid all those pitfalls and all the potholes and every damn thing else, nope, no, we'll just keep right on doing what we're doing, and everything will be better in the end, you know. Yeah. Well, when are the better days going to come, really? You know, I don't know when. I really don't. It's I think we are probably as broken right now as Russia is right now. Okay, neither of our two countries are sitting in a good spot. Okay, think about that for a minute. You've got a communist country with a dictator, got a democratic country, democracy, with a corrupt leader, and our two countries are basically in the same fucking hole right now. The same hole. So when people say, oh, this form is better than that form of government, where's the evidence? Tell me, make it sense, make this make sense to me. Which system is really the better system here, if at the end of the day it all ends up in the same fucking toilet? Okay? Corruption ruined communism over there, just like it ruined democracy over here. So what's the real problem? Is it the system of government, or is it just the fucking assholes who run these governments? People are people no matter what nationality you are, and we all suffer the same fucking sins and flaws, all of us. Okay? No one's better than anyone else. So any government anybody creates is going to be finite. Finite, it's not going to last forever. Okay? It doesn't. Nothing lasts forever that man makes. So it's really interesting when you think about that. How we spent decades criticizing communism. Oh, they're godless people, Well, we got Christians over here who think they are God, and we still ain't got a God. You know what I'm saying? So, who's better here, the godless country or the people who think they are God? Christ. I don't know, boy, it's a whacked up fucking world, I'll tell you. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, share, and keep your ears open for health-related matters. And treat each other kind out there, and don't step on anybody's toes. I'll talk to you guys later, so take care. Bye-bye.